Welcome back. You're still watching the Afia Morning Show live from the cold city of Enugu, Nigeria. My name is Nathalie Uku. And of course, it is a bright and cool Wednesday morning. And of course, this is saying good morning from the east side. I'm Nathalie Uku and Oji, as always, here with me, though it's Wednesday.
Good morning.
Happy Wednesday to you.
Happy Wednesday to you, Natalie.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, Natalie.
Good morning.
And good morning, Natalie. And a day after the defection, officially, Enugu
I know
State
you always
is
head
now,
straight into business. So
is
go
now
ahead.
APC states.
Yes, on the way to work, I did see a bus, and the bus was loaded with brooms. The brooms were even falling out of the back. They used a rope to tie the brooms, and I was just like,
exaggerating it?
I wondered whether the bus had just come from Okpara Square or not. But
pick all the brooms.
Yeah, they say if you need brooms now, you should go to Okpara Square and pick some. All right, and of course, we're joined also by Public Affairs Analyst, Mr. Emeka Odom, in the studio. Mr. Emeka, so good to have you. Now, I think you're my boss.
Good morning.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning.
Welcome to the show.
Nice to be here.
Welcome. You were there at the media chat. I know you did not go for the rally, because if you had gone there, someone would have touched your forehead and you'd have just changed into APC regalia. How did you feel about the defection and, of course, the chats with the media persons? Of course, you also constitute a media person as well, being a journalist.
Yes. Talking about the defection, this has been on for quite some time now. All the rumors, and even though those of us in the media, sometimes we have this privilege of knowing things before it comes to the public. So eventually it happened yesterday. And let me also say now, for somebody like me, I am not entirely surprised, because if you follow political events, follow key political actors very well, you'll be able to know where things are going to. I mean, given our experience in Nigeria here, we have a trajectory, and some of these things don't fail. I mean, to an extent. When the president came here on January 4th, I think on January 4th this year, the president came here to commission some projects, and he made some statements, and some of those statements, well, if you look at it on the surface, it could just be, well, it's the president visiting one of the federating units, and it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter the different political parties. But beyond that, the subtextual interpretation of what the president said, it simply tells you that there's a certain connection. And usually in matters of this nature, when you now piece the events together, you talk about the connection between the president and of course the governor said yesterday that he had known the president even before
friends,
now. So that speaks of a relationship that existed. Beyond that, you also talk about of course the challenges they've been having in PDP, the ultimatum they issued, and thereafter the fact that the governor haven't been seen within the caucus of the PDP for quite some time now. So when you piece these things together, you just know that, look, this is probably where this is heading to.
Right. Okay, let's take a look at headlines. And almost like you said, journalists always know what happens before the things happen, and you're already predicting our headlines this morning. So let's start with the matrix and the front and center. PDP hit by fresh gale of defections. I didn't betray PDP. Mba defends defection. Wait and see. Another Southeast governor will soon defect. PDP chieftain predicts. I never saw it coming. Stunned Bode George reveals. Another senator dumps PDP for APC. Senate receives Tinubu's request to confirm new INEC FCC heads. Why we upgraded Nigeria's growth forecast according to IMF. Mr. Macaroni slams APC over presidential pardon. Mathematics no longer compulsory for arts students as federal government reforms entry rules. Shell's fresh $2 billion gas investment excites Tinubu federal government. Genocide against Christians. Senate constitutes committee to probe allegation. 4 trillion naira power sector debt. Federal government Gencos agree framework to resolve issue. Away from the matrix to Nigerian Tribune, PDP suffers multiple losses in Enugu, Bauchi, Kaduna. Enugu governor defects to APC. Bauchi senator, 3 Kaduna reps leave party. Also here, Ekiti 2026 coast clears for Oyebanji as APC adopts consensus option to pick governorship candidate. Oborewori flags off reconstruction of Warri Sapele Benin Road. And also here, ASU strike reps speaker to chair committee to reconcile federal government and varsity workers. On the Whistler, Naira competitiveness sound reform policies insulated Nigeria's economy from worse external pressures, according to Cardoso. After ceasefire, Israel strikes Gaza, Hamas executes 8. Also here, court rejects DSS bid to readmit exhibits in Dasuki trial. OT steps in as residents protest electricity tariff hike. On the Punch, marketers blame depots as petrol nears 1,000 naira per litre. Fresh hike worsens inflation fears. Commuters face higher transport fares. Acting INEC chair outlines plans for Anambra poll. Court orders exhumation, autopsy of Afri land towers fire victims. Also here, Tinubu hails Eagles as Osimhen fires Nigeria to World Cup playoffs. And also here, Enugu Governor, 3 Kaduna reps dump PDP for APC. Nigeria News Direct, federal government to clear legacy 4 trillion naira power sector debt through bond issuance. New FG reform no longer makes mathematics compulsory for arts, humanities students. Of course, also here, Mba quits PDP, ends 26-year dominance. And also here, finally, APC achieves 2/3 majority in Senate after Bauchi lawmaker defection.
We started from Vanguard. Illegal financial outflows worsening Nigeria's revenue problem, says IMF. Dangote Refinery deploys CNG trucks to distribute petrol at 850 naira per litre. Why I dumped PDP for APC, attributed to Mba. Maths no longer compulsory for arts candidates, says FG. Approves new admission guidelines. Defections, we warned Nigerians of APC's one-party game plan, attributed to Okpara. And Madagascar's president flees as court declares seat vacant, names army chief new leader, Obebolo, to commissioners. Always wear Tinubu's cap during ESCO meetings. ASU reps move to avert breakdown in varsity system. NLC draws battle line with FG over education crisis. Finally here, FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifiers. South Africa celebrate as Osimhen sends Nigeria to playoff. The Guardian. APC consolidates power as Mba ends PDP's 26-year reign in Enugu. PDP postpones NEC meeting indefinitely. And how ASU's actions allegedly sabotage FG's truce efforts. FG approves new admission reforms, raise the tertiary intake to 1 M yearly. Get that. IMF Cardoso isolates Nigeria from global uncertainty, raise growth prospect. Tinubu to ECOWAS, declares stolen mineral resources and international crime. States, businesses embrace $3 billion solar funds as national grid wobbles. Senate seeks repatriation of Nigerian women, children held in Libyan prisons. 70% of women on death row in Nigeria are mothers, study reveals. Power plants operating below 40% capacity as grid voltage exceeds limits. Moving over to the Daily Times. Senate probes alleged Christian genocide, set up ad hoc committee. Reps order probe into arbitrary banks charges, summon CBN commercial banks. And this one says Tinubu seeks Senate confirmation of Amupiton as INEC chairman. Gale of defections as APC exposes cracks in opposition camp, says Shetima. Moon Shoot 2025 kicks off to shape the future of African tech in Lagos. Exclusive. Shaibu Lee, pregnant or not, we want our daughter back alive, says parents. And moving over to Daily Trust. Taraba Governor, other bigwigs, IAPC. IMF raises Nigeria's 2025 growth to 3.9%. Mariam Sanda, husband's family splits over pardon. Mathematics no longer compulsory for arts students. Orphanage owner remanded over abduction of 600 children. Military takes over as Madagascar president impeached. ADC rejects November 2026 date for general elections. Nigeria miss automatic World Cup spot head for playoffs. The last one right here, Daily Sun. PDP leaders fight in court over convention. Damagun legal advisor clash over council's representation. My movement to APC to align Enugu's vision of transformation with Tinubu's national reform. Libo back to political mainstream, says Shetima. Reps wade into FG ASU dispute. NLC issues 2-week ultimatum to FG. Halt dirty money influx. IMF warns Nigeria orders. Electoral reform. ADC rejects proposal to hold elections in November 2026. Says it would undermine governance in Nigeria. Lastly, FG issues new tertiary institution admission guidelines.
All right, thank you, Oji, for those headlines. I think it's clear where we're going to start this morning.
Yep.
And of course, that's the gale of defection. One more governor added to the All Progressives Congress, and indeed the last PDP governor in the Southeast region. Now, during his address at the Grand Rally at Okpara Square, we heard VP Shetima, who was representing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, say that the governor is now the leader of APC in Enugu State. And just weeks before now, we saw the former science minister at the helm of APC in the state. I mean, quick transition, quick mathematics. What's your take on this?
Yes, I think it's, well, I am not aware if that is written down anywhere, but politically we have come to understand that the highest politically exposed person in every state becomes the leader, of the particular political party in that particular state. So there's nothing new in saying that the governor has automatically become the leader of APC in Enugu State. Before now, we have a former governor, Sullivan Chime, who is in that party as well. But the moment a sitting governor crosses over to the party, we've seen it happen in Akwa Ibom, even though the Senate president is there, who probably is the most politically exposed person there. But the day he was addressing the crowd, he said he has voluntarily relinquished that position for the governor so that the governor can have a firm grip on the party and do what he wants to do. So I think that's the way it goes. But beyond that, you also talked about the former minister. A lot of people have insinuated, and quite frankly, so if you follow the events, you probably won't have any objection than to arrive at that same junction. The minister probably, a lot of talks, a lot of things, a lot of soft landing, so that the governor could be, the door could open for him to come in. Even though yesterday during the press conference, the governor tried, very hard to allay such, issues and put it to rest. But, one thing, the perception is the different thing, and the explanations that are offered is a different thing entirely. If you look at the way it happened, and prior to that, we got to know that the governor and the minister, probably there has been some, some issues, and eventually with all the stories, all the narratives around the APC, the former, state chairman standing by, just by the sideline, and eventually when the minister left, the executive was suspended. The former chairman, who before now had been clamoring for the governor to come in, and so if you look at all of those things together, you see some elements of tricks. However, we go by what we are told officially.
So, like in the streets, right? So many tongues are wagging, and they're calling out the governor that betrayed the Enugu, that those who gave him the mandate went out there to vote for him and all that stuff, and also the PDP that he actually propelled and got to this position, the vehicle, right? So, in your own take, did the governor disappoint the Enugu, the indigents right here, who apparently voted for him, and also the parts, the vehicle that propelled him into being the governor of Enugu State, the PDP? Is this more like his personal interest other than the interest of the indigents of Enugu?
Okay.
Indigents of Enugu, you mean? In the Enugu already the indigents.
Quite frankly, this idea of betrayal, I want to look at it from a very, very, pragmatic point. Number one, we must understand that, yes, the governor has crossed, And if you look at it also on the surface, the question to ask is, why do you have to abandon the party that brought you to power? But beyond that, we also need to understand the role that PDP on itself has played in this whole saga. Number one, there's a proverb that says that if you bring in an ant-infested firewood into your compound, you must be prepared for the multiple visits by the lizard and all other, creatures that love ants. That is exactly what PDP has done. Immediately after the 2023 general elections, notwithstanding, the problems they had and how they ended up giving their ticket to a northern candidate, all of those things probably have come and gone. But how were they able to, rally around, put the party together to ensure that they don't run into problems, going forward to 2027? To me, they didn't do enough. And so, because they didn't do enough, they allowed the differences and the problems that they had to fester for too long. They allowed it to fester for too long. And the political machine is like the social media. It's not static. It's so fast-paced. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, a lot can happen. And let me tell you, it's not just the governor of Enugu State. He's a politician. He wants to go second term. He wants a secured environment. He wants, his own political aspirations to also come to pass. You don't blame him for pursuing his ambition. And again, also, PDP must understand that it's not just about the governor of Enugu State. From the papers this morning, I think it's Daily Trust, we're hearing that even in Taraba, these are hardcore PDP enclaves. And you see what is going on. So yes, we understand they are making moves now to put the party together, but that came in a way a bit too late. If what the House of Rep people are planning can sell through, that means in about 1 year from now, we'll be talking about elections.
Right.
And so
I have to ask you this. I mean, you've pointed out another facet of this entirely, that it's not just Enugu. There are other states as well that have seen the gale of defection, right?
Yes.
In your view, speaking candidly, clearly, without ambiguity, who is responsible for the near death of PDP?
I think it's PDP itself.
Who in PDP? I mean, that's ambiguity. We're trying to avoid that.
Yeah, because see, as an organization, those who manage the affairs, who pilot the affairs of that party, takes responsibility. When you talk about PDP, you are referring to those who are piloting the affairs at every point in time.
So who and who within that?
No, the leadership is not just about one person. Yes, you have the chairman there, you have the secretary, and they have various organs that make decisions for the party. It's a collegiate system. The National Working Committee, of course, probably may be the last on the straw because they carry out the daily workings for the party. You also have the National Executive Council. These are people that make decisions that the National Working Committee must implement. So if you look at it, you can't really point one person there that you are responsible. It's a collegiate system, so a lot of them must share from that responsibility, that whether it's a liability or credibility, whatever thing that arises from their decisions, it goes to them. So they take responsibility for the death of that party.
So now, beyond what their reasons the governor gave for joining the APC, and one of those reasons is what he described as ending fragmented politics in the southeast region. What do you understand by that, especially in the view of conversations about Nigeria possibly tilting towards being a one-party state? Yeah,
you see, that is probably where, for me, I probably want to ask the governor, more questions to understand where he stands. When you talk about fragmented,
ending fragmented politics,
fragmented politics. I have said it before now. The Southeast, Nigeria is organized in geopolitical zones. Now, the Southeast is one of them. We just have about 5 states here. And Nigeria, the Southeast is one place where 5 states and 4 parties ruling. We have before now, of course, we have the APC in Imo State and Ebonyi State. We have the ABGA in Anambra State. We have the Labour Party in Abia State. ABGA in Anambra, Labour in Ebonyi State, and we have PDP before now.
I mean, that ABGA is now up for debate because I heard this governor say that we're all progressives. So he seems to be aligning with the center being ABGA. But go ahead,
I'm going to that place. So you see, now the governor gave a hint yesterday. Of course, I understand you were at the panel, and you people try to push him further to make some pronunciations, and he very smartly dodged it. But as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't be surprised if Abia State, because he said something. Abia governor visited him not long ago, a few days back, and we are hearing that it's time we put an end to fragmented politics in the Southeast. Now, the reason, before I probably endorse that on my own, what I may ask is, when we talk about fragmented politics, it doesn't automatically translate into all of you, joining the party at the center. Even the man who is at the center right now, at a point in Nigeria, he was a standalone governor in this country, and he belonged to a particular region. He didn't come out then to lament that, well, I'm the only one in AD right now, and all he did was to walk on the ground and also win people back to himself. Now, what makes you stand alone is ideology. It's not just because of you want to join the bandwagon. Oh, this is the moving trend right now. The kind of argument that the Okpara State Governor gave. If you want to travel somewhere and you discover that your aircraft is faulty, what do? Have you discovered what is wrong with the aircraft? Is there anything you can do about it instead of just abandoning it and jumping ship? The point is, the Southeast is not just to join the party at the center. The Southeast on itself, even if all of them are in the same party, let's assume all of them are in the same party, are they cooperating enough? Questions came yesterday asking about what is wrong in connecting the whole of Southeast with a rail system, with a very solid transportation system. Mm-hmm. What is wrong in doing that instead of everybody just doing their own things?
Okay. This is the hardest hit season for the PDP. Do you see a PDP revamping itself and coming out strong, for the 2027 election and to, stamp and make their mark once more?
Yeah, it's possible, but the chances are very slim. It's very, very possible, but chances are very, very slim. Because as it is now, the governor has already moved in Enugu State here. But for me, if you ask me as someone who has been following political events, it's not yet to huru. Because the truth of the matter is that, like one of the papers said, the governor's movement yesterday has ended the 26-year dominance of PDP in Enugu State. You can't really say that for now. Yes, that probably looks very possible, but you can't really say. It's only when he has gone to the polls with the new color, with the APC logo, and now emerged victorious, you can say yes, he has effectively ended. Because the way it is now, he carried the mandate to the new party, right? And so anybody can do that as long as you're elected, you're occupying that seat. It's only when you're now on your own in the new arrangement, you go to the polls and people identify you with the new color, new logo, new vision, new ideology, and say yes, even though things have all of these elements have changed, we still believe in you, the substance. Then you can say yes, he has effectively ended that.
Right. Now, at the Grand Rally, we saw one of the most symbolic displays. At the media chat, we saw the governor in his suit and tie, professional regalia as usual, the regular office wear. And then when he came for the Grand Rally, he was clothed in the APC, known to be APC regalia, and even the cap that had the infinity sign on it, the infinity symbol that the president is known for, and by implication, the APC. When you saw that, how did it make you feel? Because in all of this, that was the most symbolic moment, coming after the governor officially got the tickets of APC and finished the registration. Yes, so he now transformed. That was the most symbolic part of that transformation, beyond documentation, that we saw the governor outside of his usual suit and tie to wearing the infinity cap and the entire APC known regalia. How did you feel? How did you react when you saw that?
This is one aspect of our politics that I don't really find funny. I find it very distasteful. And it's not just about the governor here. This is what we have, everywhere. You see, you don't, for me, this idea of idolizing one man, this hero worshipping of one man, it doesn't help our politics. You see, I think it was William Jefferson of the United States of America who said that no man is righteous enough to be entrusted with absolute power. And so when you exalt the president to that point, he's a human being. And I think that the loyalty, even if you're joining the APC, the loyalty should be, well, yes, I'm joining the APC now as an institution, and of course the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So coming out to wear the emblem of the president, his portrait all over you, and as it is in other states of the federation, that's what almost everybody is doing, and it's that same mindset that made the National Assembly to say on your mandate. They are not standing on the mandate of the president. They all have, the party has a manifesto. And apart from the party manifesto, they were all elected on their individual mandates. And so, but what do we do? That's what we have here.
You're right. One would say that was a grand rally. Everything was happening at a rally, and rallies are known for parties organized rallies, and there you're expected to report to your principal or represent your principal at that point in time. But would you have a challenge if that becomes a new dress code in Enugu State?
Well, of course, Enugu, the whole essence is Enugu says we want to key to the center. So whatever they are doing at the center, I think that's what they want to do. But ultimately, now the question to ask is, we saw elections happen in America, in Britain, and many other places. How many times do we see? We run a system that America runs as well. We took our system after them. They have subunits, they have governors in the various states. How many times do we see these governors and wear the emblem of the portrait of the president of America when they are doing in their own various states and when it's not a presidential rally? How many times have we seen that? And that is why, for me, we need to stay away. We really need to move away from a hero political system. We need to stay away from all this idea of anchoring our political vision around one man. That is building a super figure, and I don't think it will help us a lot, because when you build that super figure, as long as it's a human being, ultimately it's because it's the same thing that happened in sometime around 2023, and that was why, because it came to a point, 2026, 2027, it came to a point that President Obasanjo saw himself, a lot of people were anchoring their political hope. They saw him as a political grandmaster, the political god, and he began to think of perhaps
that 10 bid.
So you see, we actually push our leaders to the point that they assume and they become too powerful for us to call to order. We cause it.
Well, as I said, absolute power corrupts.
Yes, because when you give a man too much powers, what else do you want him to think of? In Libya, Gaddafi became too powerful, and he felt that Libya was becoming too small for him, and maybe the Africa as a country could be.
And, well, those ideologies of yesteryears. The Matrix, genocide against Christians, Senate constitutes committee to probe allegation. It's been in the news that Cruz, a U.S. congressman, is doing his expose on the killings of Christians in Nigeria, which was tagged a genocide. And now, as usual, Nigeria will always set up committees and to investigate. But my question is literally, right, are those allegations true or a lie? Things we hear that happen up north, even right down here in the south and all that stuff, and we'll be paying lip service to all these things. Now they set up a committee to investigate the allegation. So at the end of the day, what are they going to find? Yes or no?
Good. You see, when I saw this headline today, to an extent, without prejudice to the question you asked, but I felt a bit relieved, because this is what the Senate should have done. Before now, the moment this news broke, the first thing they did was to took sides.
Yeah.
Well, yes, as Nigerians and as a national
image
body, image making, they need to be patriotic. But I expected them to, first and foremost, when this accusation came from outside this country, the first thing you should have done was to probably look inwards. Is it very possible that there could have been anything along this line? Now you look inward, you look around you, take note of your ambience to be sure. Before you now start making those very strong defenses and start making plans to, go to America, pursue it, engage in a pushback and things like that. Now you put the cart before the horse. That's exactly what they did. Now, I'm sure somebody must have called their attention to say, look, before you go, and what about if you get there and these people confront you with very important and strong evidence? What are you going to be? You will just look like, look, are we really who we claim we are? Mm. So, but thank God that they have just suddenly realized that we need to look. So let them do the investigation first. Let them do an open head and encourage people. Things are happening in this country and nothing is being done in some of them. It has gotten to a point where when things happen to you, you just say, you just leave it for God. People don't, you understand my point? Yes. There are a lot of things that happen to you, and if I begin to pursue this,
there's no way help is coming.
Yes, so let me leave it for God.
From you, the divinity.
Exactly. There's a whole lot of undocumented injustices that are happening around. the victims don't just feel like pursuing because they may not have the money, they may not have the time, they may not have the confidence in the system, and so they just leave it for God. So I think the Senate, what they should do is to, as much as a Nigerian, of course, if you also ask me, I have my own views, and I think, probably we have not had any story of that in the center. But that doesn't just mean that it is not possible that there could be one or two things, along this line. So let the Senate do a very thorough investigation. Let them conduct an open hearing. Then, if at the end of the day, no verifiable evidence anywhere, nobody has come up, that no engage media, engage civil society, and because that man can't just be talking from America because he wants to damage the image of Nigeria. I don't think so. So they should investigate and find out.
Well, Pope one time was sending out prayers to Nigerians. It was all over X. He was sending out prayers regarding the same killings of Christians right here in Nigeria.
And all of us said amen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good.
Right. I mean, now those are serious concerns, and we're going to talk about it for a very long time. Circling back to The Guardian, and there's a very important story here. I mean, I like how the editor crafted this headline: APC consolidates power as Mba ends PDP's 26-year reign in Enugu. So you see, this headline captures the impact. I remember when Buhari was campaigning under the APC, running for election. And before then, there was this perception of PDP. PDP was seen as the most powerful party. It almost seemed like I was a child then, and I saw the broom, and I'm asking my father, why is the broom all over the TV? And he was paying keen attention, and I asked my grandpa too, why am I seeing this broom everywhere, right? I didn't understand it. And now, years down the line, I won't say the number of years, we're seeing a takeover.
Yeah.
Has APC become, by the actions we've seen of these governors and the gale of defection, has APC become the most powerful party in Nigeria?
Of course, they are gravitating towards that angle. Remember at the point PDP told us they were the largest party in Africa, and of course APC is claiming same thing now. They are gravitating towards that. Remember also that those of them and the kind of politics they play here, in Igbo Palace they say onyebu ego ke neso, that type of stuff. We can't wish it away. Yes. When you have the bread and the knife, or you have the cake and the knife, and you have a crowd of people who are angling to have a piece, of course you know what will happen. The truth of the matter is that in Nigeria right now, everybody wants to identify with the center because of the nature of our politics. The center is very, very powerful. Now, have anybody bothered to ask, how is it in the First Republic? Even though there were different parties at different regions, we didn't see that inkling. There was that whole idea of people jumping ship to go and join the people at the center. Why didn't it happen? And so, if you look at the politics we play here, any party at the center, all they need to do is to probably engage one or two, offside stuff and things like that. You see them get more and more influence, more and more. And like I said earlier on, the APC will get even stronger, except if it gets to a point where probably you can no longer handle and manage the successes, and eventually what we have is an implosion. That is the only thing that may happen. But until that happens, APC is going to become even more, after the 2027 general elections. If APC wins the election, which looks very possible,
right,
and you may even be, that could be the death of many of these other parties.
When asked the question about Nigeria turning to a one-party state, the governor responded to the journalist that asked that question, and of course that was a Rise News journalist. He said that, well, it's not a one-party state that Nigeria is becoming, that ADC, a coalition, is still growing as well. So that, in his view, kind of neutralized the idea of Nigeria turning to a one-party state. But there are also other pundits that hold the point and the viewpoint that by next year, you'll start to see some of these people that are jumping into the APC, jumping right out again. And these people that are saying this, these pundits are saying that they've seen this before many times. Yes. People jump in and then they jump out just as quick. Do you see them jumping out?
Yeah, it's very possible. It depends. It's also not possible. It depends on what is the outcome of the 2027 general elections. But by the way, let me say this. You see, yes, the governor gave the answer yesterday, and it's not anything different from what the president also said. Remember last time, I think that was when he went to the last time he went to National Assembly, and that question came and they talked about it. But you see, what makes a country a one-party state is not just that your legal frameworks creates room for other parties. It's not just that. You may have a legal framework, your constitution or your laws may be there, giving room for whoever wants to establish another party to do so. And that may only be limited to the principles. Now, in practice, when as a political party in power, you make things a bit more difficult for people to strive in other parties, and it creates an atmosphere that they can only realize their ambition, things can only work, you can only be happy only when you join the big party at the center. What you're doing is that you're creating an atmosphere of a one-party state. That is the truth. It's not just because, what does Nigerian law say? Nigeria says Nigeria is running a multi-party system. Now, out of all of these multi-parties, we see the big party continuously swallowing up, the smaller parties, and the big gets bigger and the smaller gets smaller, even to the point of extinction. And it's a one-party state in practice. And when the voice of opposition, see, let me tell you, the actual voice of opposition in a political system is not by the NGOs. It's not just by the media, because no matter what party, no matter the political system you run in a country, the media will always be there and they will always play their role. The civil societies will always be there, they will always play their role. But how do other political parties, what atmosphere what environment, what ambient do you have that these other political parties can compete favorably and effectively to, present an alternative to the people? That is what makes a multi-party system. And once it's not there, whether by legal framework or by practice, as long as I'm concerned, the country is heading towards a one-party state, and that's the way it is.
Okay.
And by necessary implication, if what the governor said yesterday, talking about trying to end a politics of fragmentation in the southeast, if that is realized, then what it means that in the southeast, we are all of us in one direction.
But let's.
But the beauty that we have now is that we have in Afia State a governor of a different political party, and people can see and compare. Say, look, this man is in this political party, and this is what he's doing.
Well, Peter Mba was in PDP, and all he did already in 2 years. But you talked about plugging to the center, and also that's one of the reasons our governor gave, defecting, by the way. But I always bring this to the conversation. Imo State has been APC for 8 years plus, same as Ebonyi State. So what are the attractions there that is so juicy that now Enugu State is an APC state that we're going to attract more and all that stuff, right? Knowing fully well that Ebonyi State has been APC's...
don't you think you've said that enough? You don't have to say that every day. You don't have to say that every day.
The poorest state in the southeast is Ebonyi State.
Give us the figures. Give us the cost per kilometer. Give us the cost per kilometer.
The fourth poorest state in the world, in Nigeria, is Ebonyi State. It's an APC state.
Give us the revenue. Give us the revenue figure. Give us the revenue figure.
What's the attraction? I'm not Mr. Dave Omai.
Pause for some mild drama, Mr. Odom. Don't answer him. He's going to keep talking. Let's have the figure.
Minister Dave Omai. If I was, and I occupy
You're not. Now that's why I'm asking for the figure. Give me the figure.
Always give the figure. These are investigations from a reputable platform, NBS, right?
No, look at me. I'm the one speaking to you. Look at me.
Okay, sorry.
What's the figure? No, because you said that every day. I want to know the figure.
My question is, right?
He's looking at us. Let's talk. What's the figure?
Figure 4.
The figure that you've used to judge. Yes, I understand what you're saying, okay? Ebonyi State, relatively in the southeast, could do better, right?
So
but what's the figure? Because you've said that for 3 days in a row.
My question is, let's go back to the question. And I always ask this question because, yes, we are talking about this plug into the center. What's that juicy and attractive thing that happens there? What would happen, literally? I'm putting the case study right here, I put out right, from Ebonyi State and Imo State. Now Enugu State joins suit. So what's going to happen? What's that juicy thing?
You see, quite frankly, what you said now punctures the argument of, we want to plug to the center for better dividend of democracy. It completely makes nonsense of that excuse. You see, you don't need to. I say this, our leaders, we hold them to a high esteem and we respect them so much. But it's not everything they say. And that's why for me, when journalists, when leaders sit in front of journalists and journalists throw questions at them, that's one of my one of my high points in public governance, and it gives room to interrogate the decision that some of these leaders take. They are not gods; they are human beings. It's just that they are privileged to be there to make decisions that concern us. The truth is this: we have heard this story over time. Dave Umahi gave that story, and eventually, a lot of people said he was wanting to be the president at that time. Did he eventually get it? Now the thing is this: when you live where you are and say you want to go to the center, now you have gone to the center. Please, what are the scorecards? Let's see why we should also join you at the center. The man who is the president now, like I said before, at a point in time he was a lone ranger. He was the only governor in the whole of South India among the 6 states in the southwest. He was the only one in a different party, and he remained there. And not only that, he remained there, he faced a lot of difficulties with the sitting president at that time in terms of the state allocation because of some political actions that he took, and eventually he held his ground. And if I by the way, also that was also where I have a lot of respect for him. So eventually the Lagos state suffered at that point in time. If for anything, the man worked so hard to put Lagos on the right pedestal, which is paying off now, and he used that opportunity also to build a political colossus around himself that a lot of people are plugging into, which has paid off. So you can even say on the contrary that, look, standing alone sometimes has a lot of advantages. It gives you an opportunity to actually display and say, this is who I am and this is what I can do.
All right, so let's look at a fragmented approach to this whole move while we wrap up this segment. Now, looking at what happened yesterday and the decision reached and the reasons given. So the governor said that the decision was in the best interest of Enugu. I'm going to ask you 4 categorical questions, and this is the first category, this is the first part of the question. Do you think that decision was in the best interest of Enugu? If you can answer me very, very briefly.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. As of now?
You see, as of now, that sudden transition from the umbrella to the broom, where those of them at the helm of affairs may have the shock. Of course, it took them time. They took that decision. They contend it. They are working towards it. But for the people out there who just suddenly got to know yesterday, you don't expect them to quickly adapt. So it's going to require a whole lot of work. Like I'll always say, when a leader takes a decision, you may not, as a follower, you may not understand the impulse of that decision. You may not see what he's saying. You may not know the things that he knows. Now, it depends on the leader to work very hard, and I do expect the Enugu State Government, the governor and his team, to work very hard in the area of advocacy to let people know why the broom is far better than the umbrella.
So let's talk about why. Let's get to the why now. So he stressed during his chat, of course the address before the media chat, that the loyalty of the Southeast to the party had not been reciprocated by the PDP. What do you think of that being a key reason for his defection to the APC?
Yeah, you can't reach that away because everybody in the Southeast, the votes of 2023 elections clearly, answer that question. Before now, PDP, the Southeast has been a very, was it in 1999 general elections? Anambra State gave I think PDP one of the highest. I think it was around 98% or thereabout. In 2023, even though Ekweme, was a lot of people expected Ekweme, he contested the nomination. He didn't get it. He remained in PDP, and again also, Anambra State also gave PDP a very high percentage of winning. And thereafter, right from the time of Yaradua to the time of Jonathan and everything put together. Now, when you put this together, you find out that the Southeast has been with PDP all the way. And in 2023, it was a natural thing for PDP to say, look, now power is coming to the South. Please, let's give this ticket to the Southeast. And moreover, we had a candidate in the Southeast there where other regions looked at him and to say, yes, this is a presidential candidate. And it's like PDP looked the other way, So that political offense, as long as I'm concerned, that's what I call it. That political offense that PDP committed to the Southeast. Well, I do hope that, moving forward, we will have people who will be able to...
Now, the governor also promised that this realignment, this move would not derail Enugu. Do you think this train would still stay on track?
That was why I said time will tell. If after defection, we see more of federal presence, we see more, developmental projects, we see more dividends of democracy, we see, that his alliance or his rapport with the center, with APC, is bringing more food to the Enugu table. Of course, everybody, I mean, what issue do we have with, by the way, if you look at it, intrinsically, you discover that all of these political parties, whether APC, whether Labour, whether PDP, what is actually the difference?
Right.
They're just same people everywhere. And all that stuff. It's fine, though.
Thank you so much. We're already out of time. Thank you. And of course, we'll look forward to having you again.
Thank you
Your
so much.
analysis is absolutely fantastic
Thank
and
you.
categorical.
Thank you so much.
Hey.
Thank you. All right, the morning show returns in seconds, and when we do come back, we'll be moving into a conversation. Now, Amazing Grace disappeared for 6 weeks, and when she came back, she was in labor. And she was able to be delivered off her baby yesterday. Now, that baby of hers is going to be making headlines tomorrow, being Thursday, as she launches a special docu-series on the cultural heritage, the religion, and the Igbo community in Russia. She will join us after this break and tell us what we should expect as we all look forward to it. Stay tuned.